assessment that we are making progress, that we are fully implementing the UN Security Council resolution with the aim to protect the civilian population in Libya against any attack.
But some would see the protection of civilians in Libya as a fig leaf for regime change. Let's be frank about this. Presidents Obama, Sarkozy have made it clear that at the end of the road they do not want to see Gaddafi still in charge. He is very much in charge in Tripoli. Have you failed in your mission?
I have to tell you that the NATO operation aims at implementing the UN resolutions, and that is to protect civilians against any attack. The UN Security Council resolutions deal with the political aspects. The UN Security Council has clearly stated that the acts of the Gaddafi regime may amount to crime against humanity, and that could eventually be brought to the International Criminal Court.
But will you be able to say at the end of the day that you have succeeded in your mission of protecting civilians if Gaddafi stays in power?
The aim of our operation is to protect civilians against any attack, and our operation will end when there's no longer any threat against the civilian population in Libya.
How long will that go on for? How long do you think NATO is able to sustain this, both financially and politically?
Well, I'm not going to guess. We are now focused on fully implementing the UN Security Council resolutions. We will do our utmost to protect civilians against any attack. I hope to see a political solution sooner rather than later. Obviously, there's no military solution solely. We will need a political solution that will accommodate the legitimate aspirations of the Libyan people.
What would that entail? Are you willing to accept a ceasefire?
The UN resolution requests a ceasefire, but I think we have to make sure that it is a credible ceasefire, that it is a verifiable ceasefire, and it is a ceasefire that lives up to the protection of the civilians in Libya, which, in my opinion, also would require withdrawal of regime forces from some of the besieged cities. And furthermore, a ceasefire should pave the way for a political process that leads to the accommodation of the legitimate aspirations of the Libyan people.
You say you're implementing the Security Council Resolution 1973. Before that, there was a very clear Security Council resolution that put in place an arms embargo. Now, the opposition leadership in Libya says openly that it is receiving arms from Qatar. Are NATO members providing any kinds of weapons to the opposition? Are they providing any kind of intelligence as well?
We participate in the enforcement of the arms embargo according to the UN Security Council Resolution 1973.
But that clearly isn't being enforced on the ground, is it?
We do what we can to enforce the arms embargo.
Well, the rebel leaders have said that they have been getting arms from Qatar. Do you see this as a violation of the UN Security Council resolution?
We have not seen any violation of the UN resolution.
Is it not a violation of the UN-imposed arms embargo that you say NATO has committed to also implementing?
We live up to the UN Security Council resolution. We participate in the enforcement of the arms embargo, and to my knowledge there has been no breach of this arms embargo.
But just to be clear, once again, are arms shipment to the rebels a violation of the Security Council resolution, yes or no?
An arms embargo is an arms embargo.
So you agree with the US interpretation?
What I can tell you is that we participate in the enforcement of the arms embargo in strict conformity with the text of the UN resolution 1973.
Do you think the arming of rebels would actually put civilians more at risk and wouldn't, in fact, help in your aim of protecting them?
We are participating in the enforcement of an arms embargo in strict conformity with the UN Security Council Resolution 1973.
Let me ask you about one of the latest military airstrikes by NATO, which apparently have killed a few rebel fighters. The deputy commander of NATO said today that he will not apologize for this, that it was a lack of clarity on the field, that NATO wasn't aware of the fact that rebel fighters have been using tanks that belonged to Gaddafi. Do you think it is appropriate, though, to apologize for this latest mistake on the part of NATO?
What I can say is that it is a very unfortunate incident, and I strongly regret the loss of life. We also have to realize that the situation on the ground is very fluid. We are there to protect civilians against any attack, and we have seen in the past that tanks have been used by the Gaddafi regime to attack civilians. And this is, of course, also the reason why our aircrafts target military units that could be used to attack civilians.
How long do you expect this military operation to go on for?
I'm not going to guess. I hope to see a political solution sooner rather than later, because there is obviously no military solution solely. We need a political solution that accommodates the legitimate aspirations of the Libyan people, and it is for the Libyan people to decide on the future of Libya.
Do you foresee the day where troops will have to be deployed to Libya if the goal of removing Gaddafi is to be fulfilled?
No, and we have no intention in that direction, and the UN Security Council resolution does not authorize to put boots on the ground.